Hey, what's going on, everybody? How's it going? How's it hanging? Welcome back to the channel. So today we're talking about a new-ish Netflix movie, and it's called The Third Eye Part 2. And like the first film, this is also an Indonesian film, so you're gonna read some subtitles. And if you want to know my specific thoughts on the first one, I'll leave a link in the description. But overall, I really enjoyed the first one, so when I, sat down to watch this one, I was like, hell yeah, let's strap in for round 2, But sadly for this time around, it's just It's just It's not a bad movie by any stretch. There's a lot of good things about it, but I just felt like it wasn't up to par with the first one. I would say in both this one and the first one, there were both movies that very clearly, they were overreaching in certain aspects for sure. However, the overreaching in the first movie, it didn't do it at the expense of the story, so it was still really, really enjoyable. Whereas this movie kind of overreaches and it kind of affected the story for me personally. The overall plot of this movie, it picks up right back where we left off in the last movie. They're working on a mystery involving a ghost that goes by the name of Mira, and in the process, one of the sisters actually gets killed off very, very quickly in the movie. So in order to cope with that, the surviving sister goes to work at an orphanage. And then big fucking surprise, that orphanage is also haunted, and she also encounters somebody else that has an opened third eye. And then there's a whole other mystery and a whole other story to be told, and that's pretty much the movie. Now, first of all, props to this movie for killing off a seriously major character very, very quickly. Like seriously, I did not expect this movie to just born supremacy my expectations like that. So that part was very commendable. The one sister did a good job acting. Again, the acting was pretty solid from what I can gather, even though I don't speak the language. A lot of the sound effects were also really good. Not as many creepy voices as the first one, and the music was just kind of okay. It was there, it was solid. It just wasn't as good as the first one. And this movie did have quite a few good scares in it, and it actually surprisingly pulled off a lot of daylight scares. Or not a lot, but like there was at least a couple in there, and that's kind of hard to pull off. And I thought they made some pretty good, interesting choices with what to do with the story. Like how, the sister is like trying to cope with her sister's death by helping other people. Like I thought that was a really cool thing. And I liked how her character, and actually several other characters, just how they developed all those characters very slowly and with a good pace. I thought that was all well done. But like I said, the movie, it just clearly is overstepping in certain aspects, but I will say the special effects in this movie were a little better, whereas they were complete dog shit in the first movie. They did a little better in that department, but that's kind of irrelevant when the movie shows you a little too much just in general, because they tried to do things on a much bigger scale, and then by the third act, they continue to do things on a much bigger scale to the point where it gets a little bit ridiculous, if I'm being honest. There's a lot of stuff going on in the background, especially in the third act, where I'm like, that's clearly fake. Like, I just felt so out of it when I saw that. And like just peppered it throughout like the second half of the movie. There's a lot of things that are just kind of overkill in my opinion. I guess what I'm trying to say is the movie didn't feel as contained and it didn't feel as personal. And if you couple that with the movie's not as scary, that kind of hurts the movie a little bit. But it's like I said, the story is still solid. Some of the story choices were really interesting. And the whole unraveling of the overarching mystery was pretty good. Albeit there was like one or two things that I thought were a little bit predictable. But comparing it to the first one, I just felt way more engrossed with that story. Whereas the story is just kind of like, could have done without some of the stuff in it. But I think overall for a score out of 10, I think I'm gonna give it like a 6.7. It was decent, there was things to like about it, but there was also a lot of detractors to it. But there weren't enough detractors for me to not want to watch another one. So if they make a third one, I'd be more than happy to watch it. But anyway, guys, those are my thoughts. What are your thoughts? Have you seen this movie? Have you heard of it? Have you heard of the franchise? Hop in the comments, let me know what's up. Other than that, if you like this review, give me a like, subscribe, hit the bell, do all that other horse shit, and I will catch all you guys later.